There are all kinds of points and it gets confusing. But today we're going to talk about four main types of points related to travel and purchases. First are flexible points, and these are the key flexible point currencies out there. Next are airline points, and virtually every major airline has a points program. These are some examples of those. Then there are hotel programs. Similarly, most chains have their own program. And then there's all the other kind of points out there, mainly related to different stores. But the key is that all points are definitely not created equal, especially when you're trying to use them to travel. So this is Travel Award Search with a guide to the differences to help you travel wisely and travel well. We hope you enjoy this video. And if you do, please support us with a like or subscription. We also have a website named aptly travelawardsearch.com that has a lot of news and written articles and a Facebook group to keep up on things. So we're going to go through these four main types of points from the bottom up. It'll make it a little bit easier to explain them. So first, let's talk about all those other points mainly related to stores, but we're not going to spend much time on them because they're not very valuable. You might like some of them because you shop at that brand a lot. I like my Kroger points for gas discounts. There's no harm in signing up as long as it's free, but they're not very useful for travel other than a gas discount for road trips. Whatever you do, don't fall into the trap of applying for these credit cards because that will interfere with your ability to gain travel points. Now let's talk about the next tier up, hotel points. Hotel points vary a lot in what they're worth. General rule of thumb is 1/2 cent to 0.8 cents per point. World of Hyatt is a standout with their points worth a little more like 1.2 cents per point or even more. There are some transfer potential among these. You can transfer Marriott Bonvoy points to airlines, but it's 3 Marriott Bonvoy points to 1 airline point, so it's generally not a very good idea. Most of the hotel programs set up their hotels in different tiers with a different point value on each tier. That means you can get some really good redemptions because the point values are not necessarily directly related to the price of the room for that particular day. Always sign up for these if you're going to a new brand. Almost universally, these points don't expire, so certainly there's no harm in signing up. The credit cards can be quite valuable. They have often good welcome bonuses, although be aware of what the value of these points is compared to the value of other points, but also free night certificates, which is what FNC stands for. We really like our IHG One Rewards credit cards. The Premier credit card is $99 a year and comes with a free night certificate for up to 40,000 points. So that more than offsets the annual fee. Then there are the airline points, and these are even more valuable. So if hotel points are good, airline points are generally better. And these are some examples of the airlines, but as I said, virtually every major airline has a program. The points here need to be redeemed within their program. And what I mean by that is if you have United Mileage Plus points, you have to redeem them within the United Mileage Plus program at the United website. Now that does not mean you're limited to United flights. Frequently the Mileage Plus program has partner award availability. We've flown on Swiss, we've flown on Lufthansa and several other airlines using United points because they had partner awards available. And often those are actually fewer points than the United flights themselves. Two of the programs listed as examples here actually apply to multiple airlines. Flying Blue applies to Air France and KLM. It's their partnership. And Flying Blue points is one pool of points that apply to both airlines. They often have the same flights, but it's somewhat different redemption rates. So the Avios program applies to 5 different airlines: Aer Lingus, British Airways, Finnair, Iberia, and Qatar. It is not a single pool of points, though. Each airline has its own points program, but you can transfer among them. There are certain restrictions on who you can transfer from and to, so sometimes it takes a little bit of back and forth in order to do that. But it does make those points more valuable because you have more options. Whatever you do when you pay for a flight, be sure you're earning points. There are 2 ways to do that. There is that airline's point program, which you can sign up for if you don't already belong, or often you can get points on partner airlines that are related to them. So for example, when I flew South African Airways, I could get United points there because I don't expect to fly South African a lot, so those points are not very valuable to me. Credit card benefits for airline credit cards are also quite good. They often have very good sign-up bonuses. The sub give you free baggage, some give you status, and some give you lounge access. Of course, those come with much more expensive fees. But definitely credit cards are something to look at for airline points. So now let's talk about flexible points, which are the most valuable points. If hotel points are good, airline points are better, flexible points are best. And these are the main flexible point currencies. These points can transfer to airlines and hotel transfer partners. And each of these programs has its own individual set of transfer partners. Hotel is a little lighter here because generally those transfers are not as valuable. And I'm going to go through a more detailed example on the next slide about the different transfers and why this is so valuable. Flexible point programs sometimes give bonuses for point transfers to certain partners, which can increase value even more. For example, we booked business class on Flying Blue, which was 50,000 points, which is a good deal in itself. But because Chase was giving a 25% transfer bonus, we only had to use 40,000 Chase points for each of those tickets. And those transfer bonuses happen relatively frequently on the different programs, so that's another reason these values are higher than some of the others. The airlines don't typically do something like that. The other thing these programs typically have is a pay yourself back kind of option, so that you can use your points just to pay directly for any bill, but in particular your travel bills. If, for example, you're going to stay at a boutique hotel that is not in a points program, you can still do that on points if you don't want to spend the cash. Credit cards are the key mechanism for acquiring points in these programs. Large sign-up bonuses are offered frequently. Now the annual fees have a wide range. They can go from 0 to the most I've seen on a popular card is about $700 a year. So quite a range of fees, quite a different range of benefits. Some have travel insurance, some have lounge access, some have other perks. So you have to really look at the different cards and see what's right for you. But this category tends to be the most beneficial. Now let me give you a little more of an example of why they're so valuable. So if you look at Chase Ultimate Rewards, the box on the left on this slide has all the different airline transfer partners that those points can be transferred to. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in being able to book award flights available in any of these programs. So that makes those points worth at least as much as a point in the United program, or at least as much as a point in the Emirates program, or at least as much as a point in the Flying Blue program, or at least as much as a point in the Southwest program, wherever you can get the most value. So generally, you're going to be able to get a value of at least a penny a half. Southwest Rapid Rewards have a very consistent value of about 1.6 cents per point. So you can at least get that much using Chase Ultimate Rewards. You can also transfer to 3 hotel partners, Hyatt, IHG, and Marriott. The only one that's really worthwhile in comparison to the airline transfers is the World of Hyatt, because those points tend to be worth more, on the order of a penny and a half a piece, or higher at times depending on what you can find. So that's why these transferable, flexible points are worth the most in the system, and the ones to really target. Quick recap on what we've discussed on the 4 main point types. Flexible points are the best points. Airline are better points. Hotel are good, probably with the exception of Hyatt, which kicks up to the better level. And then all those other points are really not very valuable for travel, so don't focus on them. We hope you've enjoyed this All Points Aren't Created Equal video from Travel a Word Search. And as always, travel wisely, travel well. Thank you.